already pretty familiar with Matt Walsh's work. And because of that, I kind of understand how his brain works and how he goes about making excuses for things that he thinks are ultimately acceptable. From everything I've already seen on Twitter, where of course he's getting backlash from other conservatives about defending this woman, he is taking the coward's way out, which I fully expect, which is to say that Matt is going to tell you that this is actually good that this woman is getting over $600,000 now, by the way. $600,000 for calling a child a racial slur. The reason he is going to tell you that's good is because it is apparently pushing back against cancel culture. That he is going to go with his old tried and true idea that cancel culture is basically being called out and critiqued in any way. And as you're watching this, I want you to fucking consider if a woman calling a child by racial slurs, harassment by any metric, vile, racialized, horrendous, outdated bigotry directed at a child, if that is not enough to be canceled over, then I want you to consider what the fuck do you think Matt Walsh would actually think is worth criticism, is worth being reproached about. Because I don't think there's really an answer as long as it aligns with his overall ideological framework. I truly believe that he would continue to find any excuse for these horrible things. As long as he can back up and say, well, I'm not bowing to the cancel culture mob. Never apologize. This has been his thing for a while.
One of the more intense social media controversies that we've seen in recent years. And it all began in the late afternoon on April 28th, when the woman we now know as Shiloh Hendricks took her young child to a park in Rochester, Minnesota. And at some point, a black child, reportedly 5 years old, tried to steal something from her diaper bag. Shiloh apparently responded in anger, and as the story goes, she called the boy the N-word. Now, a man named Sharmaki Omar, a Somali immigrant and not the boy's father, allegedly witnessed this altercation and decided to pull out his phone. And the resulting video has gone extreme.
So really quick, with a child of his own on the spectrum, Omar said he felt he did what he thought was right. Quote, if nobody else is going to do it, I'm going to have to do it. I don't have to ask permission for anybody. After he began recording the incident, Omar said the woman's reaction surprised him. Quote, I thought she was going to deny it and walk away when there was video, and she saw that I was recording. She doubled down and even tripled down. A goal of 1 million to protect her family. Omar said he can't leave his residence, and he and his family have received death threats. Do you think Matt's gonna talk about that? Do you think so? Do you think so? People like Matt Walsh are going to want to bring this up. People like Matt Walsh's defenders are going to want to bring this up because it helps, in their eyes, it helps them to bring up these charges, by the way, that, as we see here in 2022, Omar was charged with 2 sexual assault charges. However, both have been dismissed. In 2023, 2 Rochester men, Mohammed Hussein Omar and Sharmak Bele Omar, appeared in court on charges of criminal sexual conduct. However, the Olmsted County Attorney's Office dismissed charges in March of 2025. Court documents state the case was dismissed in the interest of justice. Republican state delegate and precinct chair Sarah Fields tweeted identifying the man as Sharmak Bele Omar. Quote, many are calling him a pedo due to an older case where he was accused of assaulting a 16-year-old. However, according to court documents, the accusations were dropped. He was cleared of all allegations. He has several children and was allowing them to play at the park when the incident occurred. And we see he's not really a pedophile. He has kids. Kids were at the park to play. So, good job, Matt. Let's see what Matt says. Let's go back to this.
It is my own business. You call him an... Okay, why don't you have the boss to say it right now again? Okay. All right, that's what you say.
And that woman is now 600,000, over 600,000. Let's see what it's at. Oh, sorry. I've been talking at 600. $724,000. $724,000. 20 minutes ago, monkeys go back to Africa. I want you to keep, I'm reading through some of these. Monkeys go back to Africa again. Nick Digger. I wanted to read through some of the names being shown here because These are things that have been already talked about. Matt Walsh knows these are the people in the same line defending him. If you go into the comments on Matt Walsh's tweets defending Shiloh on social media, you will see a fucking Klan rally in the replies. He's aware of this. He knows exactly what he's doing. And he is going to tiptoe his slimy little fish-faced ass around this to make it seem like I just think the cancel culture mob needs to, this is a lesson against the left, and you never back down. And see, I of course don't agree with it. You can clearly see by the way that she is defining what an N-word is to her, that this is not a one-off occurrence, that this is something she has already defined in her personal lexicon. Like you saw at the beginning, for example, Matt Walsh saying, trying to depict this, already trying to lay the groundwork, subconsciously for his audience, I'm sure, that, this is just a moment of anger, and this woman was just outraged. Bull fucking shit, Matt. In a moment of anger, you call somebody a bitch. You might call them a see you next Tuesday, right? Whomst among us, in a moment of anger, has not said something that was maybe a little bit too harsh, that maybe you regret just a little bit. You know what I've never in my entire fucking life said in a moment of anger? A racial slur, Matt. And I haven't then said, well, yeah, if this person's going to act like insert racial slur, I'm going to call them a racial slur. You want to know why? Because the idea that she thinks a racial slur is good enough of a definition for somebody's behavior means that she already sees people in that way. She had the foundation of being a fucking racist before she came to the park, before she said anything. And this was just an outlet for her to be racist. It is why so many open racists, Nazis, white supremacists, pieces of shit are supporting her on Give, Send, Go. Because they see it as an outlet for them to also be racist out in the open, free of any kind of tangible consequences. And it is because of people like Matt Walsh that we're going to see this continuing to happen.
And here's another disturbing detail. The Somali man behind the camera, Omar, was charged a couple of years ago with sexually assaulting a minor.
Quote, many are calling him a pedo due to an older case where he was accused of assaulting a 16-year-old. However, according to court documents, the accusations were dropped and he was cleared of all allegations.
Now, Omar, who was previously charged with sexually assaulting a minor, is at a playground with his camera out filming. So make of all of that what you will.
Make of all of that what you will. The fact that he was there with his children, as other news outlets have reported. Make of that what you will. Again, I don't want anybody to, I am playing this whole thing, so nobody thinks I'm trying to skip over this, where he is very obviously, from the words he is choosing to use, trying to implant in his audience's mind, in service of racial invective. That's what all this is for, by the way. This is also people will go repeat this garbage and make excuses for a woman who just wanted to say slurs to children.
Okay, so she's a danger to children. She shouldn't be allowed at playgrounds. She shouldn't be allowed at playgrounds, not the guy that was charged with sexually assaulting a minor.
Again, not actually charged. The charges were dismissed. And Matt, you'll see how derisively Matt said, like, in the interest of justice, whatever the hell that means that somebody accused somebody, and then in the interest of pursuing actual justice, Matt, there was not sufficient evidence to pursue those charges. So they were dropped. Means he wasn't found guilty. Matt, you should know this, Matt. You've been accused of being a pedophile yourself, buddy. You have been caught on camera saying, well, actually, a 16-year-old is, that's when they're most fertile. This is just science. You've been caught on camera multiple times saying, let's just say for the sake of argument that you find a laptop sitting on the side of the road with child porn on it. Is it morally wrong to go and interact with that? These are words that have come out of your mouth. Matthew Walshathy.
Now, there are many other videos of people hoping that she would be found and physically assaulted or killed. Some were even threatening violence against her baby that you can see in the video. Here's one example.
He said, "Hey, TikTok, I just got a real quick question. So we all know what happened with Shiloh Hendricks and how she got all this money, right? Off all the wrong reasons. But you know what? It is what it is at this point, right? So I'm just sitting here thinking, what about the baby? What about the baby? Because technically, that baby is going to grow up and be part of the Triple K. That baby might grow up."
See, again, some fucking TikTok goofball talking about how the baby might grow up to be Mega Hitler. And this is the argument that Matt Walsh is wrangling. Yeah, no, he's treating this as a genuine threat to the baby. Of course he does. Of course he does.
But since, unfortunately, CPS is not going to be able to do nothing, what should we do? I think you guys should let me know in the comments, because part of my thinking was, start a GoFundMe, you know, raise about $1 million, go slap the hell out that baby, make that baby brainless or something for a while. At least you still get to live.
So first off, he's literally saying like, oh yeah, the baby will like it's very clearly a joke. Raising $1 million to go slap a baby. First off, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good bit. Second off, Matt, aren't you I was gonna say like, aren't you supposed to be on the side of like, oh, we can't make jokes anymore because the left is against comedy. You're fucking you can't do a slap a baby joke. Yeah, like this is so obvious that, okay, I want you, because I see some people in the chat being like, oh, well, maybe he's joking, maybe he's not. He's talking about raising $1 million to slap a baby so it doesn't grow up racist. He's joking. I don't know this person, never seen a video from him. Believe me when I say he's joking.
Now, I would say that encouraging people to beat a baby unconscious is worse than saying a bad word.
First, no, Matt. No, Matt. Making a joke about slapping a baby is not worse than being a racist piece of trailer trash yelling at children. It's just not. It's not. I'm sorry, bucko. It's not. You might not notice what he's doing here, and he's laying down a groundwork of comparison for that person, this again, random person he just seemingly pulled out of the ether, who's very much a joke, making a joke here. And the person that Matt is so intent on defending, the white bitch who called a child a racial slur, who not only called a child a racial slur, but then proceeded to expand on her own racialized definitions for what that slur entails, revealing her to be an open racist who just thinks of people in these terms. And he is comparing and contrasting these two with very subtle little things, like him saying, well, nobody's saying that the people who like this video, this very obvious joke video, nobody's saying, very curious how they're not canceling them. And the comparison there for him, for Matt, is going to be the people who supported Shiloh Hendricks, who, again, we already looked at how they went through. You go through. You can go look right now if the fucking Give Send Go is still up.
A random person is caught on camera doing something rude or offensive. The video is posted by some third party, usually somebody who wasn't even involved in the incident. And then thousands of sociopaths set out to destroy the person's life and possibly get them killed, all for...
Possibly get them killed. I've seen people saying that this woman needs to get her brakes beaten off, that this bitch needs to square up. I've seen other women saying that. I have not seen anybody, and I'm in pretty hardcore left spaces. I'm in spaces that are pretty fucking against this. I have yet to see anybody call for her death.
Saying the N-word to a child in a moment of anger is bad.
Again, I want to, it's so clear what he's fucking doing to cover for the fact that he actually just thinks this is okay. He thinks just slipping up and racializing a child in a moment of anger I've already talked about this, but it's so obvious. In a moment of anger, that doesn't excuse it, Matt. And it wasn't just a moment of anger. As we heard her say, well, if he's going to act like an N-word, I'm going to call him an N-word, is what she said. That means that's what she already thinks of black people. That is how she has internalized the idea of blackness. That is what you are trying to counter and defend as being, well, it's just a moment of anger. Does this person deserve to die for this? No. But, say it with me now, Joker voice, we live in a society. I believe there should be social consequences and social ostracization for antisocial behavior like this. If this woman is getting called out and harassed because she is at her core a hateful piece of shit, I can stand back and say, well, I'm not going to harass her. But if other people want to use their free speech to let her know that they're not fucking okay with her, that should be their right. But oh no, this far outweighs the... No, Matt, that's how it's supposed to work. That's how the social contract works. If you're doing something nobody else likes, motherfuckers need to let you know. But he wants people to be able to skate by without those kind of social consequences. That is how the ideas that he supports continue to thrive.
And we all know how this script ends. The offender, in a desperate attempt to call off the dogs, tearfully apologizes and begs for mercy, a mercy that they surely will not receive. Because Shiloh Hendricks did not apologize. Instead, she posted a crowdfunding campaign on Give, Send, Go, where she doubled down and defended her actions and asked for help to relocate and get her family to safety.
This is where this issue is so transparent for Matt that you can just go and check on all the things he's saying to see, like, oh, it sure seems like, Matt, you're just, you peel back a layer, you're just supporting racism. Because he's praising, oh yeah, no, she doubled down. She's not apologizing to the woke cancel culture mob. My name is Shiloh, and I've been put in a very dire situation. I recently had a kid steal from my 18-month-old son's diaper bag at a park. I called the kid out for what he was. That's still up. That's still the way she phrased it. I called the kid out for what he was. She thought that was an acceptable way to label a child. And by extension, Matt, in supporting this GoFundMe, and not, no, she doubled down, Matt is also supporting it.
A different group formed to counter the outrage mob. They started donating to her campaign, and she surpassed her original funding goal in less than a day. Within 3 days, she had earned over $500,000. Now she's somewhere north of $600,000.
What's that other group? What's that other group, Matt? What's the group, Matt? Yeah, no, states' rights to do what, motherfucker?
I understand that some people on my side feel, to put it scientifically, icky about this whole thing. I understand why they feel icky. I understand why they don't want to condone saying racial slurs to children. I don't want to condone it either, and I don't. And nobody really does.
By you praising this woman, you are praising her actions. By you supporting her, standing up to the cancel culture mob, you are supporting the thing that brought down this cancel culture mob upon her. By you praising her, doubling down for calling a child what he was, you are supporting her. Oh, please do.
First of all,
please do, buddy.
She does have a legitimate need for the money. The mob is truly trying to get her killed. I don't believe that a woman should have her life threatened for saying a word, even a bad one. And you could say freedom of speech, but not freedom from consequences for your speech, all you want. But if losing your livelihood and having your house burned down is a consequence.
Which again, there's no proof of any of this. She hasn't come forward with any proof of this kind of harassment. I'm not saying she's not getting harassed. I've seen people, but it is completely within the realm of what I would think is completely fucking acceptable social consequence. And you are free to say whatever you want. You are not free of the social consequences.
Consequence of your speech, then you do not have free speech. Supporting free speech means supporting someone's ability to speak without having their family murdered for it.
Okay, her family isn't being murdered for it. Next fucking point, Matt. Like, what? I don't know what grand fucking brilliant brain maze you think you're leading everybody on, but it is so transparently obvious that he arrived at this conclusion the second this happened. By the way, there was no like, I'd really be. Would it be a principled stance? Maybe this is the morally correct thing to do. It's like, no, he started out being like, yes, I am going to defend the lady who said the racial slur. That is it. There's no evidence that her home is going to be burned down. There's very little evidence that she was forced to flee, which apparently incited the need for raising $250, then $500, then $1 million, as more and more racist and white nationalists poured in.
This is the most devastating attack on cancel culture that we have seen, possibly ever. Shiloh Hendricks has, without really trying, effectively ended cancel culture, as Mark
ended cancel culture. Again, you'd think that Matt might consider for a moment who he is allying himself with when he's talking about, oh, these are the people who are finally ending cancel culture. 1776. Exodus 2015. Average white man gave 1488. White Lives Matter, 1488. Tired of this N-word BS. These are the people who Matt is accepting an alliance from to cancel culture. Oh, wait,
and this is the part that many conservatives seem to be missing. All they see is that this woman said something bad and is now getting rewarded for it.
You'll notice, I can't help but notice that he hasn't mentioned what she actually said since the very beginning, where he couldn't not state it, but he just keeps saying, oh, she did a boo-boo. She did an oopsie. She said something bad. Because again, I feel like he wants his audience to forget what she actually said by this point. He's covered it in so many layers of bullshit that I think he's hoping that even them will be like, yeah, I guess it wasn't really that bad. Silent tremor, what does 1488 mean? It's the 14 words, which is, we must secure a future for our children or whatever the fuck, which is a Nazi slogan. And then 88 assigns to the 8th letter of the alphabet being H, so it's HH Heil Hitler. They're not great at codes. I don't know what you want me to say.
The point is that the only way to put an end to this routine, the routine where the outrage mob mobilizes and assembles to destroy somebody's life, is to disincentivize the routine. And the only
So again, I want you to consider for a moment, because he has acknowledged the idea that this is being seen as social pushback, that this is the consequences of somebody exercising their free speech. But I want you to think for a moment, because I know he knows he's exaggerating the threat to this woman. Her family doesn't deserve, like, her family might be entirely killed and have their house burned down. Come the fuck on, dude. Come the fuck on. I know he knows he's exaggerating that shit, but beside that point, I want you to consider for a moment, if yelling at a child, like I said at the beginning, if yelling at a child, calling them the N-word repeatedly as a definition of their personhood, not as just an insult, not as just a whoopsie, not as just a slip of the tongue, saying, if they're going to act like an N-word, I'm going to call them an N-word, a definition of their behavior, of their existence as a human being, dehumanizing them, a child. If that is not enough to draw even the fucking faintest bit of criticism from Matt, because he hasn't. I want you to notice he hasn't. He says, yeah, like, I wish she wouldn't have said something in anger. He has done everything in his fucking power to vocalize the idea that, like, this was just like a regrettable little slip-up whoopsie-doodle. This is the motherfucker who had the gall to write a movie and name it Am I Racist? Bro. Huh?
None of that will stop them. The only thing that can stop them, the only thing that will make them think twice about doing this again, is if they know that instead of getting their target canceled, they might accidentally make them rich. And more important even than the money.
His argument here is framed in this grand notion of what conservatives see cancel culture as, where if somebody did one thing once, they don't deserve to have their entire life canceled over it. Oh, big fucking whoop. What's his face got drunk and had sex with a girl when she said no. Does that mean he should lose his entire career over it because it happened 30 years ago? Like, this is, yeah, you're a fucking horrible person and people should face more consequences, Matt. Like, that's what's up. Because guess what? They fucking don't right now. The world run according to people like you, Matt, you don't face enough consequences for what's happening. But his solution to that, for when people already don't face enough consequences, is that, well, if we pay people who are racist, if we pay everybody, if we reward people for being racist, that's a better outcome than anybody facing any kind of social scrutiny or pushback for being a piece of shit.
Think of it this way. Justine Sacco is widely considered the patient zero of cancel culture. Back in 2013, she was on a flight to Africa when she tweeted jokingly that she hopes she doesn't get AIDS when she gets to Africa. And when she landed hours later, you're probably familiar with the story.
I'm not.
She discovered that her tweet had gone viral across the country. The mob had made her famous, and she lost her job. She was cast out of polite society. Her life, as she knew it, was over.
Ever the master of the false equivalency, he is now saying that very tasteless joke. AIDS is something that a lot of African communities still struggle with. People die all the fucking time over there. People suffer and live with it all the fucking time over there. Is it a good joke? No. Is it racist? A little bit. Is it tasteless? Most definitely. Is it different than a woman dehumanizing a child? Yeah, Matt. It is. You're right. It is different.
Speaking of her choice of words, there is another point that...
Oh, Matt, are you finally... 17 minutes into this 23-minute segment, are you finally going to address the fucking elephant in the room? The fact that she said a racial slur and you've been talking about how she needs to be rewarded for it? Oh, please, come on. Come on.
I think has to be made here. The mob that tried unsuccessfully to cancel Shiloh Hendricks was far, far more outraged over Shiloh saying the N-word than they were over Carmelo Anthony stabbing somebody to death. Indeed, many of them actively supported Carmelo.
You cannot simply argue something on the merits. You have to resort to whataboutism. Incredible. Incredible. He cannot say, like, he cannot just sit and be like, wild. He has to bring up an entirely unrelated fucking issue.
And this is all part of the preposterous racial double standard that has defined American culture for generations now. It is a double standard that declares it a greater crime for a white person to say a word than for a black person to kill a white person. In fact,
in what fucking world, Matt? They've raised $524,000. He is trying to depict this, it's so much worse. People see this as worse than a black boy killing a white kid. The woman saying the racial slur got rewarded more for it, Matt. The reality that you can just go and look at goes against your entire fucking argument.
The rules surrounding this word, the moral weight granted to it, the arbitrary guidelines drawn around it, it's all nonsense. It's all indefensible on both moral and intellectual grounds. People are fed up with it. That's what you're seeing in this story.
People are fed up with not being able to say the N-word. That gets right down to it. That's what you're actually saying here, Matt. People are fed up with not being able to say the N-word. Just come out and say that. Just come out. Just fucking say it, dude. Just say it. I know you want to. I see it in your fucking shitty Alan Wake cosplay ass metrosexual tiny hands jacket self. Just fucking say it.
Now, that child, if he's like the average black child in this country, did not hear the N-word for the first time from a white.
Oh boy. Matt, we're doing this, huh? Not only are you defending Shiloh, but you're also going to start speculating on the average black child. Do you think he's going to fucking say he heard it in rap music? Do you think he's going to give the old, well, if the black people can say it in their music, why can't I say it? Do you think he's going to say it? Do you think? I think he is. I think he is.
He likely hears it every day. He probably hears it in his own home. Are we supposed to believe that he's heard the word 1,000 times, but it's time 1,001 that really traumatized him? I mean, the idea that the word is a common greeting for one race, but unspeakably evil.
It's because it's not the same fucking word. You walking bottle of fucking mayonnaise. If it's just, it's so ridiculous. Which you clearly, through all of this, you clearly don't think Shiloh Hendricks did anything wrong, or at least not worth castigating. Not worth any kind of tangible consequences. If it's not that big of a deal, Matt, just fucking do it. Do it.
You know, racial rule of the road that we're supposed to follow without ever asking any questions about it or expecting anyone to explain it or justify it. People are sick of that. It's just that simple. They are sick of it. No, you can't do that. You can't say, well, no, we can do this thing, but you.
Oh my gosh, he's actually. This is one of the first times. I think it's rare. I want you to note how often Matt stays at the same lukewarm. Well, this is actually this, and this is this. And that white people not being able to say the N-word is the thing that raises his decibel just a skosh, just a little bit. I want you to know that. Like really notice this. This is what he's getting fucking passionate about. I'm gonna go back a little bit here.
No, you can't do that. You can't say, well, no, we can do this thing, but you can't. Doesn't work that way.
He's actually mad.
It does not work that way.
He's actually fucking pressed.
For a long time, it was indefensible, and it's just not going to work that way anymore.
Then say the word, Matt. You want to say it so bad. He's like, oh yeah, that is what this all fucking gets you. He can't even, oh, this is great. This is great for him. He can't even condemn the saying of the word. He has to be like, no, actually, it's good that cancel culture is over. And he can't even just leave it at that. He has to keep pushing it because his real goal, this is the real thing that he's praising. Not that cancel culture is over or canceled or whatever the fuck. But that, oh, yes, now we'll show all of them that white people, we can say the N-word too. Because I know Matt has read history books. I know Matt does read. And I know he has a fixation with history. Now, I'm almost assured he does not go out of his way to imbibe anything really critical of America, American history, the founding fathers, the racism inherent in almost all of our fucking systems. But I am positive that at some tangents, he had to have come across the justification, the understanding of why a black person might get mad at a white person calling them the N-word. The historical understanding of the suffering, the subjugation, the dehumanization, the brutal, agonizing, hereditary suffering that word can summon to mind. And how that is now weaponized against people because of an immutable characteristic. I know he's aware of it, but it doesn't behoove his argument to acknowledge that.
The reflexive, indefensible, capricious, vacillating racial double standards are over. People are fed up with them. They are fed up with the game, and they don't want to.
He should have just come out and said this, saved us all an hour. Like, he should have just come up and said, was like, oh, I see this as an end to racial double standards and white people can say the N-word. Because that's what this comes down to.
And that's all that this word has become. That's all that our quote-unquote race relations have become. A game.
No.
A game with arbitrary rules and incredibly...
It's not arbitrary at all, Matt. These things are actually quite easy to understand if you're not a fucking fish person. If you are not a fucking eldritch spawn, what comes from underneath the sea. Like, most humans, they get it. They say, hey, don't fucking use that word. Okay, I won't. Somebody uses that word. They get shit for it. It's a pretty fucking easy conundrum to figure out, Matt.
Telling white people, and white people only, that they can't combine two specific syllables under any circumstance. It's like telling them they can't touch their head unless someone says Simon Says. Okay? They're not going to play the game forever. White guilt is the fuel that keeps all this going. White guilt is what convinces white people to follow arbitrary rules that make no sense, to tolerate, even defend a system that's rigged against them with blatant double standards.
Oh my God.
It's what's compelled white people to...
The system is rigged against... Oh my God. I need Matt Walsh to fucking go on, like, just completely unscripted, because it would ruin any further career he ever fucking has. The idea that the system is rigged against white people. The system that rewarded a woman for harassing a child with $726,000.
Acquiesce to a culture that says that, every race can and should defend and root for their own, but white people, and white people only, should not be conscious of their race at all.
Dude. White people aren't supposed to recognize their own race. It's like, no, that's not necessarily a problem. You can be proud of being Finnish, Swedish, German, Dutch. Who cares? The problem is that you motherfuckers racialize it too much. You're like, well, I'm not just proud of being Dutch, but being white is actually better than everybody else because we made the Western world. And that's where your head is at, Matt. I know that, like this is the dude who argues in favor of fucking manifest destiny. Like, come on now.
I mean, there's been a war waged on whiteness for a long time in this country. So this cannot be the beginning of anything. But it may be the end of something.
A war
the end
waged
of
on
racial double
whiteness.
Standards. The end of cancel culture.
He thinks he's fucking spitting right now. There's a war waged on whiteness. And this is the end of double standard. Dude, I was going to cut this video out for a while. No, war waged on whiteness, that's going on the fucking thumbnail. That's so good.